Alrighty, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Week 18 NFL predictions. But before we do all that, we're gonna start with the game maps, then dive deep into my playoff scenario, or dive deep into playoff scenarios from week number 18, and then do the pick'ems, and then do my YT NFL predictions. And there's a bonus segment. If my YT predictions stand correctly, I have a wild card matchup time predictions if all games stand, like my YT predictions stand, and if that were to happen and all that, I have a prediction for that. I know it's kind of random, but we're gonna do it anyway. But to begin with the CBS early window, you got the Saturday announcers. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman will get Pittsburgh. And then the Baltimore game will be Chris Fowler, Dan Orlovsky, and Louis Riddick. And now for the CBS early window, as of Friday night, these will be your local games. So most of you are expecting to get either the Bills or Patriots, and the Panthers and the Falcons. Some of you will get the Texans and the Titans, and the rest of you will get the Giants and Eagles and the DC area, Philly, you know it. All right. For CBS late window, and most of the country is expecting to get Kansas City at Denver. That like parts of California, Las Vegas, and parts of Oregon, and a little Arizona will get the Chargers and Las Vegas Raiders. And that's it for CBS for the season. This is it. And now the final time for Fox early. Some of you will. Okay, this is weird. Some of it, it's either going to be Washington, Dallas, or New Orleans and Tampa Bay. There's a lot of areas, actually. And there's a good percent chunk that some of you is going to get Green Bay and Chicago. So some of you will get Chicago and Green Bay over here. But most of you are expecting to get New Orleans and Tampa Bay, which is the meaningful game. Washington and Dallas has barely any implications for Washington, and then none for Dallas. And then there's some for Green Bay, but there is absolutely none for Jacksonville and Carolina. Or Jacksonville and Indianapolis, excuse me. All right, and now for the Fox late window. Most of you are expecting to get Miami and the Jets. And some of you will get the Seahawks and Rams. It's meaningless games, and this one's a meaningless game. Also, San Fran and Arizona. But again, most of you will get the meaningful game with the Dolphins and Jets, with the Dolphins playoff seeding, and on the line with the Kansas City and Denver one. But for that to have any really implications for Denver and Miami, Cincinnati needs to lose. But if Cincinnati wins, they need some help as well. I'll dive into that right now, actually. But that's it for the maps for the final time that season. Make sure to have your wild card announcers for next week. I think mostly we know, probably already. But anyway, let's dive into the obtaining seedings. Okay, you know the drill with the Lions and Vikings game. The winner of that game will clinch the number 1 seed with the NFC North Division title, a first round playoff bye, and the home field advantage throughout the playoffs. The loser of that game will have to play in the wild card round as the 5th seed, likely either going to Tampa Bay or the Rams. We don't know yet. We have to wait and see. So the Falcons are mathematically still alive, but they need some help. They need to have a win against the Panthers, and the Bucks have to lose somehow to the Saints. That's it. But if Tampa Bay ends up winning, they lock it up, kiss the Falcons playoff hopes goodbye. Or if Tampa Bay somehow ends up blowing it, if they blow it, man, they don't deserve it. But if the Falcons end up losing and both teams end up losing, then that means Tampa Bay will still end up with the division. Keep your eyes on that. Now for the AFC, Ravens, if they do win Saturday against Cleveland, they'll win the division. again, they'll clinch the 3rd seed, I believe. Or if Pittsburgh ends up losing to Cincinnati, they will still end up with the division. But, if Pittsburgh ends up winning against Cincinnati and Baltimore somehow loses to Cleveland, then the Steelers would get it. And the Ravens will have to play in the wild card. Okay? We got the AFC North down. Now for the playoff spots. If the Denver Broncos beat the Chiefs on Sunday, they lock up the 7th seed. And both Dolphins and Bengals are eliminated. Or if they both somehow losing while the Broncos end up losing, then the Broncos will still have that playoff spot. But if the Dolphins end up winning with the Broncos losing, then that would mean the Dolphins would get in. If the Bengals want to have any shot, they need to have the Denver lose to Kansas City. They will have to wait until Sunday. So the Bengals will have to win against Pittsburgh on Saturday and wait on Sunday for a Denver loss and a Miami Dolphin loss. Got it? Okay. Now these are your seeding potentially. Whoever gets a 7th seed, the Broncos, Dolphins, and Bengals will only have the 7th seed. The Chiefs have locked up the number 1 seed. The Bills have locked up the 2 seed. And the Texans have locked the 4th seed. The Ravens will either be the 5th seed or the 3rd seed. If the Steelers end up winning and the Ravens end up losing, then that means they'll have that set, and the Chargers would be the 6th seed. But if the Ravens end up winning, the Chargers have a chance to get the 5th seed and the Steelers to drop to the 6th seed. But then the winner, whoever deals with all that with the 7th seed, will clinch that. And then for the NFC, so the Falcons can either get the 4th seed, but I think it'll be, and then the Rams are resting starters, so we don't know. I think if Tampa Bay were to win, they will get the 3rd seed because of it, but we'll see. We'll have to wait and all that on Sunday, but yeah, that's it. So you get all this. You can pause if you want, but that is it for the seeding. Now to the next segment of the video. Oh yeah, we have draft pick scenarios as well, I guess. So Patriots lose, they'll get the number 1 pick. But if the Patriots end up winning, the Titans can lose, get the number 1 pick. Browns lose, Patriots win, Titans win, number 1 pick. But if the Giants lose and all these 3 teams somehow end up winning, then they'll get the number 1 pick again somehow. Alright, y'all got that? Alright, we're good. You guys can pause the video if you want. But now we're diving in to Week 18 for the final time this regular season for my playoff, or for my weekly predictions. Alright, pick'ems this week are Baltimore, Cincinnati, Carolina, Tampa Bay, Washington, Philly, Houston, Colts, Packers, Buffalo, New York Jets, Denver, Los Angeles Chargers, Seahawks, San Francisco, and Detroit. And this is the final time that I'll be doing pick'ems. I will not have them for the playoffs. It'll just be my playoff predictions video, and that is it. Alright, those are my final pick'ems for the season. I'll let you know my finals, the standings, my final record once the season's over. Alright, to begin the Saturday games, we have the Ravens and the Browns-Ravens game. I'm expecting I have 3 locks in this, so this is going to be one of my locks. And this one, I have the Ravens absolutely destroying Cleveland. I think it's going to be like 31 and then to like 7, I think. I'll just put 31-7. I don't have any score predictions. I totally forgot to do that. But, so yeah, I'm just going to guess random scores. It'll be 31-7. The Ravens dominate the first half. And then I think at the mid of the 3rd quarter or beginning 4th, they'll take the starters out and celebrate their division crown. Win over Cleveland, and yeah, the Browns will have to wait and see what happens on Sunday with the picks and all that. Okay, Bengals and the Steelers, the big AFC North Saturday game. So this is basically meaningless for Pittsburgh. They can be meaningful for seeding, but if the Ravens end up losing somehow, they can fight for the division. But yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. But if they do end up winning, they'll lock up the 5th seed, and then the Chargers will have to be the 6th seed. I think that's what would happen, right? Yeah. But I don't see that happening. They've been struggling against good teams. I don't think the Bengals are gonna be. You don't want to face the Bengals in the playoffs stuff. But here's this. The Steelers have not been looking good ever since the Week 15 game. They've lost 3 in a row. They've looked like shells of themselves, and yeah, they're coming off like nearly 10 days rest, and yeah, I don't know what to think of it honestly right now. But the Steelers, I have them losing to Cincinnati. Right now, I think the Bengals are here to fight. They're here to stay until at least whatever happens Sunday. I think they get the job done. They'll win by the final score of 30 to 27 to keep their playoff hopes alive just for a little bit. But you'll see if I have them somehow making the playoffs or not. But I think the Bengals win in a classic game, and the Steelers will end up being I think the 6th seed, and then the Bengals, we'll see what happens. Okay, for my first Sunday game of the week, Panthers and the Falcons. I had the Panthers playing spoiler. Regardless of what happens with the Falcons losing, the Falcons are out. Bye, suckers. But I have in all seriousness, I have the Panthers ending up winning on the road. I have them winning 23 to 21, ending the Falcons season officially. They'll not make the playoffs, and unless if the Falcons end up winning and the Saints end up winning, they are the 4th seed. But I have them losing on Sunday, and their season will be over. So no playoffs for the Falcons. And now the next game in the NFC South, Tampa Bay and New Orleans. This is my second lock. I have it being I have the Bucs doing their job, winning by the final score of 37 to 14, and the Bucs get their 4th seed. And or for now, depending on whatever happens. But yeah, Bucs win 37-14, and now to the NFC East. Giants Eagles. The Eagles are resting, but I'm still confident in them winning the game by the final score of, I think it's gonna be like 24 to 14, something like that. I don't know, but Eagles win with their starters being out, resting. And now the Commanders and Cowboys. Commanders are favored, but I have them losing to Dallas to end their season. Dallas ends their season with a bang. I think they win by the final score of 27 to 24, and the Commanders will be stuck as the 7th seed, if that were to stand, if my prediction is correct. Now to the AFC South games, the Texans and Titans. This is a completely meaningless game. I have the Titans somehow winning, and the Texans being the worst team in the playoffs based off record-wise. I think it's a tie, but we'll dive into that later. But the Titans will somehow win. Yeah, shocker. I think they'll win 16 to 10. Let's just say it like that. 16 to 10 Titans. And an AFC South battle between the Jaguars and Colts. Meaningless game. But I have the Colts winning by the final score of 24 to 13. Alright, now we're down to the one NFC North game between the Bears and the Packers. We'll do the Lions-Vikings later. But Bears-Packers. I think my prediction on that, Packers dominate, and this is my third and final lock. Green Bay dominates, end the season with a bang, officially lock up the 6th seed by winning by the final score of 38 to 17. Blowout win for Green Bay, and the Bears' dumpster fire season just utterly continues and finally ends, and they can finally clean house. Also, I have some Black Monday predictions because it's coming as well, but we'll dive into that in a little bit. Now it is Bills Patriots. I think the Bills are gonna play starters and then rest in the second half probably. I still have the Bills winning. I think they'll win barely, by a final score of 23-20, and a decently interesting game. And I think the Bills will win, finish with 14 wins on the season. And now for the final late slate of the season, and then the final AFC East game of the season, probably regular season, Dolphins Jets, and this is a meaningful game right here. We're gonna start off with the AFC, the big playoff implications ones. Actually, let me get the Chargers Raiders out of the way. That's a completely meaningless game, except for the Chargers. If they lose, they'll drop to the 6th seed. If they win, they'll lock up the 5th seed. I think the Chargers will do their part. They'll win by the final score of, I'm going to go with 27 to 7 here with the Chargers. And now for the big two playoff implication games on the line. For the AFC, Chiefs and the Broncos. And the Chiefs are playing backups. Broncos are playing starters. Guess who's going to win? The Chiefs. Yeah, sadly I have the Chiefs winning, going 16-1. They're going to barely win. I think their defense is going to somehow shell shock the Broncos. But I have the Chiefs end up winning by a final score of 16-10. It's going to be a low-scoring, ugly game, but the Chiefs will get it done with officially knocking out the Broncos in the playoffs. They have a second half collapse. Not really. But yeah, they lose their final 3 games to miss the playoffs, and they choke their season away. So Broncos being out, still had a great season at 9-8. I expected them to be nothing to begin with, but I impressed that they got at least 9 wins on the season. They could get a 10th one if they do beat the Chiefs, but good for them. All right, Dolphins Jets. If the Dolphins win, they'll get their playoff spot now. Do I have them winning? Absolutely not. I have the Jets winning in the cold. Dolphins suck in cold weather. I think the Jets torture them 28 to I'm going to go 31, excuse me. 31 to let's say 31-16. And with that, the Bengals climb all the way back from an utter miserably season to getting the final wild card spot by winning their last 5 games of the season. And the Bengals will get the playoff spot. And with that, the AFC picture is set. Now let's do the NFC side. Meaningless games between Seahawks and Rams and 49ers Cardinals. I'm still going to have the Rams in my YT1. Somehow the Rams will win. No resting starters, but I think they'll win 23-20. And then Niners and Cardinals. I have the Niners winning on the road by a final score of 27-20. And now for the Sunday night game, the big game y'all been waiting for. Who will obtain the number 1 seed? I think that between the Vikings and Lions. And my final, the game 272. The winner of that one will be the Detroit Lions in a heavyweight bout, 33-31. To end, not to end. The Vikings will now be the 5th seed, and the Lions will obtain the number 1 seed. I think the Lions win 33-31. They will get the number 1 seed, and the Vikings will have to play in the wild card game. So, with that, these are your playoff games. If all of these games stand as I predicted, probably not, but we'll wait and see on Sunday night. All right, it would be Chargers, Texans, Steelers. I don't know why there's an ad playing. Ugh, man. Hold on. Okay. It would be, here we go, much better. It would be Chargers, Texans, Steelers, and the Ravens, Bengals, Bills for the AFC. And then for the NFC, it would be Vikings, Buccaneers, Packers, Rams, and Commanders and Eagles. All right. And now with that, I did promise you guys, if all those predictions stand correctly, I'm gonna show you that right now. So, if all those games stand correctly, I think the Chargers and Texans would be the prime video game early Saturday, and then the late Saturday game would be the Bengals and Bills. And then for the Sunday window, it would be Commanders, Eagles, Fox early. I think that's what would happen. Packers, Rams, CBS Sunday afternoon game, and the Nickelodeon game, and then the Sunday night football game would be the Steelers and Ravens Sunday night, and then the Monday night football game would be the Vikings and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, and now I have one more segment. I know I've been talking for the last 21 minutes, but if those standings stand correctly, let me explain with the Giants. They're going to fire their head coach. The Panthers will not. Okay, so there's 3 teams that have already fired their head coach. The Bears, Saints, and, man, I don't know why there's ads playing. Sorry. Just ignore the ad, please. Okay. So, the Patriots, I've heard rumors that Gerard Mayo could be fired. Kevin Stefanski could be fired. Brian Callahan, Doug Peterson, Antonio Pierce. But the Jets coach has been fired already, Robert Saleh. And I don't think Jeff Albrecht's surviving either. The Saints head coach has been fired, and the Bears head coach has been fired. But with that, my Black Monday predictions is going to be Brian Dable being locked to get fired. I think Brian Dable will be fired. Patriots, Gerard Mayo, he will be safe. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski, I believe he'll survive. He'll be safe for another season. Saints interim head coach, Darren Rizzi or whatever. He's not surviving. I think he's been good for temporary, but I don't think he'll be the future head coach. 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, he ain't going anywhere. Jonathan Gannon, after the second half collapse, I think he's safe though. And then all the NFC playoff teams are going to be safe with their head coach. Raheem Morris should be on the hot seat, but sadly I think he'll be safe. And then Dallas, this is a hot take right here, but I think Mike McCarthy, regardless of the 8-9 season, I still think he does not get a contract extension, and I believe Mike McCarthy will be indeed fired. So for the NFC side, Bears head coach has already been fired. I don't think the interim survives. Neither does the Saints. So the Giants with Brian Dable, I believe he will be fired. And Dallas Cowboy head coach Mike McCarthy. So that leaves 4 NFC teams with head coaching openings, which will be the Cowboys, Saints, Bears, and Giants. Now, for the AFC side, I believe Gerard Mayo is safe. I believe Kevin Stefanski is safe. But Brian Callahan, first-year head coach for the Tennessee Titans, I believe he gets fired. He does not deserve another chance. He was terrible. Also, it looked like he was not ready to be a head coach. But I don't know if they're going to give him another season or not. But I believe Brian Callahan should be fired. And I don't know. We're going to have to find out on Sunday whether or not Brian Callahan should be fired. But again, the Titans were considered a rebuilding team, but he was still terrible. I think he should be the one that should be gone instead of Gerard Mayo. I think the Patriots were going to suck regardless, and people still want him fired. But I think Gerard Mayo should still be safe over Brian Callahan. But we'll have to still see from these two. But I think Brian Callahan should be fired. Doug Peterson, he's guaranteed to be fired. Antonio Pierce, I don't know. I think he should be fired, but I think he should get another year. And then the Jets head coach, I believe he will be safe. Mike McDaniel, I've heard rumors that he could be gone, but we're not fully sure off that. And then Colts head coach Shane Steichen, I believe he'll be safe for at least another season. So with that on the AFC side, I believe the Titans head coach will be fired. Jacksonville, I believe the Raiders one will be safe. And then the Jets is already open. And then the Colts, I think, so there's going to be, I believe, 7 head coaching vacancies available, I think. But yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys for the playoffs.